Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today's reaction is going to be on Kasante, the Pride of Nazuma. If this is your first time checking out the reaction, what we're going to do is we're going to look at his biography and story first. We'll move on to any gameplay spotlight or cinematics he'll have. Then we'll look at the skins, the Fandom Wiki, and the voice lines at the very end of the video. And we'll have it all chaptered out if you want to fast forward to any part in this video. All right, so Kasante, there's not much I know about him. I know he's a little bit newer of a champion. He's from the Shuriman region, and I believe Lil Nas X had I don't know, he helped create the champion, or he had some say in something on this champion. That's really all I know about Kasante. And some of you have recommended me to check a look at him. So let's go ahead and dive into Kasante's lore. All right, his quote says, "No monster greater than pride." Wow, that's a pretty great quote, to be honest with you. Role is tank, region is Shurima. So related champions, we have Azir, Renekton, and Xerath. Interesting. No Nasus in here. All right, and then the paragraph says, "Defiant and courageous, Kasante battles colossal beasts and ruthless ascended to protect his home of Nazuma, a coveted oasis amid the sands of Shurima. But after a falling out with his former partner, Kasante realizes that in order to become a warrior worthy of leading his city, he must temper his single-minded drive for success. Only then he can avoid falling prey to his own pride and find the wisdom he needs to defeat the vicious monsters threatening his people." Wow, okay, interesting little paragraph there. I kind of already like this dude to begin with. Like, this is a pretty, telling of what kind of personality he's probably going to have. But let's go ahead and find out more. Kasante grew up immersed in his homeland's history. At dinner, his father told tales of their ancestors who used bravery and strength to resist the tyranny of the Ascended. His mother recounted the fearsome beasts these Nazuman founders slayed as they traversed south through Shurima, eventually discovering an area rich in the rarest of desert treasures, roaring waterfalls, forested cliffs, and plentiful fauna. Far from the reach of the prideful Ascended, this was where the Free Republic of Nazuma laid its roots. Kasante absorbed every word, vowing to become Nazuma's greatest warrior hunter, one who could live up to the heroes from these stories and lead his people for generations to come. For 2 decades, Kasante trained under various martial teachers. However, it was his parents who taught him to respect Nazuma's enemies, ruthless predators and imperialist warlords who coveted the city-state's resources. Remaining a free republic would require more than brute strength, they reminded him. During his training, Kasante studied with Nazuman scholars, learning how the materials reaped from formidable marks were used to craft advanced weaponry and infrastructure that enabled their homeland to thrive for 5 centuries. On his early hunts, Kasante forged many friendships, but his closest was with a young man from Merrowmark named Taupe. Taupe or Tope, I'm not sure. Where Kasante was a blazing force in close combat, Taupe specialized in ranged assault. Their chemistry was unmatched as they bested rock bear herds, shackle raiding parties, and even Xerxai stampedes. As their teamwork grew stronger, so too did their bond. One starlit evening, Kasante confessed to Taupe, admitting his feelings went beyond camaraderie. When he learned that Taupe felt the same way, the two lovingly embraced and shared their first kiss. Together in that moment, under the stars, all seemed right. And now it's going to take a turn for the worse, right? But all was not. 2 Ascended, Emperor Azir and Magus Xerath, ravaged the continent in a war for dominance over Shurima, both deploying monstrous abominations among their forces. Nazuman scouts soon sighted one such creature, a colossal predator shaped like a lion and a cobra that wandered astray and was now terrorizing the nearby savannah. When the city-state's leaders asked who could quell the beast, Kasante and Taupe pledged their might. On their first attempt, the beast deflected their every attack with powers neither man had seen before. They discovered that its armor, stretching from head to tail, regenerated from non-lethal blows. The men failed to draw blood and were forced to flee from the cobra lion's hair with empty hands, leaving it to run wild. Okay, well now I totally understand why he has this hatred towards Ascended and is literally kind of just protecting his home, his home and his family and friends, right? So, I mean, I'm pretty much on Kasante's side here, right? And so they tried again and again. Kasante's frustration burned. To become Nazuma's greatest, he had to slay this beast. Nothing else mattered. He trained dawn to dusk, convinced Taupe would understand. Taupe, meanwhile, studied the beast. He presented Kasante with strategies, watching his partner nod along in between assaults on their countless practice dummies. Quietly, Taupe questioned if the 2 of them were strong enough. Their biggest success was an encounter where they managed to claim a piece of the Cobra Lion's armor. Taupe hailed this as a progress and thought if they sought more help, they could make even more headway. So maybe study that piece of armor maybe? But Kasante seethed. He began to see the Cobra Lion as his undertaking alone, and anything short of slaying the beast was a failure. Okay, this is already going to cause a rift between him and his partner. I already see it happening because he's dead set on killing this Cobra Lion that ruined his life and his home and all that stuff, and it's gonna ruin his relationships. Yeah, the heroes he idolized when growing up never failed in battle, so Kasante couldn't either. especially not by accepting more support in what had become his battle to prove himself. He tried Taupe's idea, which weren't working, and now Taupe believed they weren't strong enough. Cassante wouldn't accept it. He began to wonder if Taupe was holding him back and soon dismissed Taupe's strategies as futile. Hurt, Taupe insisted that tactless training was no better. Cassante's once admirable determination had turned into a self-serving, single-minded drive. As their pain and anger flared, further encounters with the Cobra Lion resulted in further infighting, and the words they exchanged became fewer and fewer until there were none at all. Wow. Finally, it seemed the only thing they could agree on was to go their separate ways. Over the next year, Cassante kept training, stubborn and alone. His progress was measurable, but progress wasn't victory. He eventually had the crushing realization that strength alone could not fell the creature. He needed help. Cassante gathered the courage to visit Taupe's home, only to learn his former partner had returned to Merrowmark. He was instead greeted by Taupe's aunt. On Cassante's way out, she handed him Taupe's journal, explaining that her nephew had left it to assist Cassante in his fight against his greatest monster. Oh, that's nice. Cassante pored over Taupe's journal. Gradually, he noticed the patterns in their mistakes, and when he arrived at the Cobra Lion notes, Cassante was stunned. Taupe claimed that the beast was a Bakai, a failed ascended being. He theorized that Zareth, known for his vile misuse of magic, had forced Shireen and Fauna to fuse via the ascension ritual. Interesting. Engrossed, Cassante read the journal from front to back, discovering Taupe's theories about how to slay the Bakai. So many ideas Cassante had never considered himself, and by that evening, he'd formulated a plan to practice Taupe's methods on lesser monsters. As his skills grew, Cassante recalled his parents' teachings, realizing pride had led him astray. Boom, right there. So it's like the realization that pride led him astray that will help him become just better, right? So just realizing it is a good thing here. He'd never respected Taupe's idea enough to try them in earnest. Truthfully, Cassante had respected his foe more than his partner. In time, he accepted his shortcomings and steadily moved on, thankful for what they had shared, but also grateful to walk his own path with a newfound perspective. There you go. That's a great paragraph. Beneath the scarlet sky, Cassante approached the Cobra Lion once more, calculated every maneuver, dodging when the beast struck and striking when the beast slipped. Sunrise became sundown. His weapons were shattered and his body bloodied, but his spirit was unyielding. When the creature tired at long last, Cassante found his opportunity, inspired by Taupe's theories, and cornered his foe against a Nazuman waterfall where the natural waters weakened the Cobra Lion's armor, allowing Cassante to finally land a fatal blow. Again, a biography, story, whatever, that I would love to have a cinematic for, of just like this fight, I guess, right? Exhausted, Cassante stood tall, proud not of what he had accomplished, but of the journey he had taken. Cassante was celebrated by Nazuma upon his return. Following tradition, he donated the creature's body to the scholars for study, keeping only a couple of slabs of its armor to refine the design of his signature Intofo weapons. They were now engineered to retain the armor's regenerative properties so that when their heavy outer layer shattered, Cassante could still wield them as sharp blades until they reformed. Okay, so he makes his weapons from the armor. That's cool. For a finishing detail, he carved onto each Intofo something Taupe had drawn within his journal, a symbol representing the Cobra Lion. Though their time together had ended, Cassante knew his success was not achieved alone. Today, Cassante is hailed as the pride of Nazuma, but if he is ever to become its greatest leader, he's learned he must never again let ego cloud his judgment. His home's future with the ascended threat looming is uncertain, but Cassante knows that should Azir or Zareth dare march southward, he stands ready to fight. That's cool. I love how, like, he's able to grow as a person here. In this whole paragraph and origin for him, it's just like it shows how much of an adult he is, or how he's able to learn from his own mistakes. And this is like a prime example of, like, you know, if you've ever had a past partner, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it is, right? You usually try to take something away from those past relationships and learn to make yourself better in the future, or you learn something from it. You learn from a mistake you made, or you learn from something from the past relationship, and you learn to do it better in the new relationship or whatever, right? I think this is a prime example of it, and he's proud of, like, what he learned from his relationship with Taupe, and he saw what he did wrong, and he's just moving forward and wants to be a better person. So I think that was great. Yeah. This is a really cool story. We never really got to see, like, the after effects of Azir and Zareth in any of the stories that we read, I guess. So it's interesting to see. This is kind of like a normal person, but now is made a champion in the game that has had to defend his home from the whole battle between Azir and Zareth. All right, our story is called Everything We Should Have Said, and I believe that's Taupe there on the left. All right, let's go ahead and go into it. Cassante wipes his forehead, his bloodied fingers catching sweat and dirt. He stands with his back hunched and wounds fresh, but still towers over the tensome attackers surrounding him. Beside them, fallen bodies lie baking in the Shuriman heat, all crazed followers of the Ascended who've been seeking Cassante's death. Oh, wow, okay. The remaining zealots raise their swords. Cassante sees glints of light on their blades. He knows the sun is watching overhead, its gaze awaiting his next move. He entertains the thought of dying here and spits on the ground. It It was a simple ambush. He hadn't become the pride of Nazuma just to perish in the very savannah where his ancestors had overcome even grander foes. These were raiders at best, lost in some deranged sorcerer's delusions of conquest. The zealots holler and charge, shrublands echoing the rumble of their feet. Cassante watches their movements. There's no strategy here, only bloodlust. He grits his teeth, and despite his battered legs, a bruised chest, and the taste of his own blood in his mouth, braces himself. Metal clashes against metal. Cassante's Ntofos block a lethal slash. He growls as he pushes against the zealot's blade, the weight of his own weapons working in his favor. A zealot sneaks in with a sword and slices Cassante's cheek. He grunts from the pain and shoves his Ntofos into the foe he's blocking, causing them to collapse, then swings his weapons in an arc, striking the zealot who'd cut him. Of course, I'm already going to say I want this as a cinematic, and maybe there is a cinematic. I haven't actually looked to see if he has any cinematics, so. He chuckles. Somehow, slaying a Bakai seems easier than fending off wave after wave of the ascended zealots. Kill the non-believer, cry his enemies. The Magus demands it. Cassante has many words he wishes to say about Xerath, but telling the Magus followers would be a waste. They'll soon join their companions, unable to pass on any messages that he'd rather speak to Xerath himself to let the Magus know it was he who slayed the Bakai abomination. To think the Magus, a self-declared god, would create a cobra lion to terrorize innocent people. It's a fair point. Cassante's stomach churns in disgust. His people, his culture, they are his pride. And unfortunately for the Magus' followers, that pride fuels his survival. Eyes forward, he grips his weapons tighter as his enemies push their assault. The zealots plunge towards him, attacking from all angles. How many are there? 4, 5, 6? His vision fades in and out, maybe due to heat, maybe due to exhaustion, and he steps forward. But his right knee buckles beneath him. Using his Ntofos, he steadies himself and blocks strikes from above and below. His enemies are piling against him now. They must think he's hit his limit. Hardly. With a roar, he knocks them back and hefts himself onto his feet again. But before he can retaliate, 3 arrows fall from the sky and land dead center in 3 zealots' throats. Stunned, Cassante watches his foes stagger and gasp for air before toppling over. Take them out, a voice commands. Cassante turns, seeing a tall armored warrior wielding a bow and leading 3 other archers, each knocking fresh arrows. They wear matching patterns of green and gold, but the leader's face is hidden behind an ornate mask. It's gotta be Taupe, right? Worry not, Nazumin, the leader says. We are no friends of the Ascended. Cassante glances at the arrows stuck in their dead zealots' bodies. I see that. The leader laughs. His voice is warm and rich and somehow familiar. Cassante can't see the man's face, yet is reassured. The zealots rush once more while Cassante's unexpected allies gather together. Ready, Nazumin? The leader asks. Always. Cassante slams his Ntofos. The ground before him ruptures, sending cracks rippling through the dirt and gravel, surging upward from the impact, which knocks back the foes closest to Cassante. Okay, that right there sounds like a description of one of his abilities in the game. We'll have to see, though. The Ntofos' outer layers shatter. Their now exposed centers shimmer in the sun, revealing twin obsidian blades. Cassante reverses his grip and aims the sharpened edges ahead. He knows he only has a brief time before his weapons regenerate their defensive coating. Okay. Cassante leaps forward, mustering all his strength. He uses his momentum to spin mid-air, heaving one leg across his front to land a devastating roundhouse kick on 3 of his foes. As they tumble back, he lands with a thud and slices his Ntofos across their chests, tearing through armor and flesh. The zealots scream. Cassante's allies roar. A hail of arrows falls around him, blocking the zealots who flanked to his sides. Take no prisoners, the leader declares. Man, this is such a cool fight. Cassante nods. Red runs down his face. Whether it's his blood or his enemies, he isn't sure. With clenched teeth and furrowed brow, he pushes ahead, thrusting his blades into the hearts of his enemies. One by one, they fall. When the dust settles, the zealots lie still, finally among their previously fallen companions. It is over, the leader observes, satisfied. Yes, Cassante says, for now. He stands upright, but just barely, his face and body stained crimson. The Ntofos in his hands begin to regenerate as he stares at the lifeless zealots' bodies. I wonder if that's a thing in the game too, like the regeneration of the weapons that he uses. You haven't changed one bit, Cassante, the leader says. Cassante looks up, mask now in hand, a smiling face looks back. It's an expression Cassante assumed he'd never see from this man, from Taupe. From ever again. I'm sure you have questions, but for now, come with us. Taupe gestures loosely into the distance with his hand. Our camp is nearby, and you look dreadful. Cassante can't stifle his strained breathing, even though he's unsure the idea of rest is too enticing. Cassante nods slowly and takes a step closer, but the world spins around him, and he collapses to the ground. I mean, he really pushed his strength as far as he could here, but he obviously eventually just collapses. I mean, he was fighting for a very long time, and he was fighting outnumbered, right? When Cassante awakes, he's lying on a wooden bed beneath soft blankets. He runs his fingers along the verdant threads, feeling their gentle, sinewy fibers, a trademark of Merrill-Marken fabric. The tent overhead shields him from the sun's heat, but he can still hear the bustling camp outside its walls. Iron being forged, steel being hammered, sounds that remind him of his own weapons. Cassante quickly scans his surroundings and, to his relief, sees his now fully regenerated Ntofos leaning back against the bedpost, polished and clean. He studies the cobra line inlay along their sides, images he carved and painted himself based on some of Taupe's old drawings. He wonders if Taupe noticed. Would he say something even if he did? What if Taupe made the wrong assumption? That was years ago, after all. Cassante tries to remember. Exactly how long has it been? 2 whole days, a voice says. You were out like a baby armadillo. Dressed in a Markman tunic of greens and golds, Taupe stands by the entrance of Cassante's tent, his arms crossed. Seeing his grin, Cassante offers a half smile in return. No mask today? Cassante asks, sitting up. We both know had I not been wearing a mask, you wouldn't have let me help with those zealots. Cassante opens his mouth to protest, only to close it again with a sigh. Despite his recent efforts to curb his more audacious tendencies, he knows there's still truth in that statement. Again, this is another example of just like pride being like a core thing between their relationship and just in Cassante's story, right? Word spreads fast, Taupe explains. Over the past few months, the Ascended forces have encroached farther south. I expected them to be by the savannah, and I expected Nazuma to send its finest. What I didn't expect was to see you, just you, fighting 20 plus of their soldiers. I thought I could take them. Cassante stumbles out of bed. He grabs his armor from beside his weapons and grunts as he puts it on, his body aching everywhere. Of course you did, Taupe mutters under his breath, and I'm sure you would have. He shakes his head. Well, if you can walk, you can eat. Why don't you thank me over lunch? I won't have the pride of Nazuma returning home on an empty stomach. Cassante gingerly follows Taupe out of the tent. Before him, the camp stretches wide. Warriors spar and restring bows, and among them are some faces he recognizes from Taupe's rescue party. Nearby chefs stir various cast iron pots. Cassante smells something comforting and familiar wafting out from one of them, cassava, yams, and cornmeal, and from another, tomatoes, onions, goat meat, and peppers over rice. Taupe pulls a couple chairs up to an open table. A young man wearing armor 2 sizes too large rushes over with filled glasses. Palm wine, Taupe offers. Cassante is tempted. It is the favorite drink of his home, but he passes. He wishes to keep his mind sound for whatever this conversation might lead. Water, he answers, please. Taupe beams at the attendant. You heard the man. The young man scurries off. So, Cassante asks, what do they call you here? King or Lord mostly, Taupe says, face static. Cassante hesitates. Taupe slaps the table with a grin. I'm joking. You think after all these years I'd crown myself like a mad ascended? That's a fair joke. I don't dare guess what your auntie might think, Cassante says. Oh, that woman would have me disowned, Taupe assures. Publicly, so our ancestors would not be offended, he explains in his auntie's voice. Cassante chuckles. All right, I love the interaction between the two already. It's just very friendly, right? That's no joke, Taupe continues, chuckling in tandem. Your parents would do the same. He pours water for Cassante and himself as the attendant returns with 2 plates of food. Cassante's stomach growls at the sight of peppered rice, dyed bright orange by spices, with fiery scents steaming off its top. Please, Taupe says, dig in. As Cassante eats, he examines Taupe and the surrounding camp. Everyone here seems happy, even amid warfare. Laughter travels from nearby people exchanging battlefield tales. Men and women come and go, offering their well wishes as they jog between stations. The atmosphere is busy and driven, but whenever Taupe asks for more food and drink, it's delivered without complaint. Okay, so he's running a nice, clean ship here, basically. Looks like you've made it, Cassante observes. Taupe sips his wine. He then raises an arm and motions to the rest of the camp with a sweep of his hand. Yes, leading my own band of fools. So far, no one's removed me from command. Can you believe it? You're too stubborn for that. Does the cheetah call the leopard spotted? Both men smile. Cassante notices the roughened edges on Taupe's face, marks of age, and a few scars. Are they new, or were they part of what he failed to notice before? Cassante searches for something. Anger, sadness, pain. His body stiffens with guilt. He continues to eat and glances around the camp, the busy clamor filling the pause in their conversation. Commander, Taupe says. That's what they're supposed to call me. I don't like it, so I command them not to. At least you're not the pride of Merrill-Mark, Cassante says. Ha, that title always fit you better than it did me. Say, I hear there's going to be a celebration in your name? Cassante humbles himself. Yes, at Hunter's Hall in Nazuma. Taupe looks impressed. Right, where we used to train. That's fantastic. Your mother and father, I assume they're going? I couldn't drag them away. I would like to see you try. Cassante chuckles. I feel like we're just reading a story about these two, right? But I think it's so well written and it really shows how close they really were. When is it, Taupe asks. Cassante swallows another bite of peppered rice. It's next month, the first weekend. Oh, right around my wedding, Taupe chirps cheerfully. Oh, uh-oh. Cassante wavers, searching for words. Quickly, he smiles. Congratulations. Thank you, Taupe smiles back, unaware of Cassante's fluster. Looks like we'll both miss each other's special occasions. Cassante chuckles again. After all these years, Taupe still has his wit. That's what had always attracted him to Taupe in the first place. How in their interactions there was always laughter. On hunts, at dinner, in bed. The timeless parts of their romance were the joys they shared. Cassante misses it, and yet he knows it was the right choice for them to separate. That final Cobra Lion hunt, it broke them. They were young, they were strong, and they couldn't agree on anything. That's the funny thing about pride. Sometimes it reveals the worst version of your best self. Wow. I feel like that hits the nail in the coffin right there in terms of like what the overall kind of theme of Cassante is here. Out of all the things Cassante expected, the last was this meal with the man sitting across from him. But he isn't unprepared. Years ago, he had promised himself that should this day happen, there would be no blame. The past was the past. In fact, he's more curious now about the present and the future. Cassante stares up from his food. How did you two meet? Ah, funny story, Taupe responds. I met him at school. School? Yes, Taupe says, then pauses. After the Cobra Lion, I went back to Merrowmark, back to school. You know that I always loved studying the intricacies of combat, so I took a couple of years to learn everything such as strategies from faraway cultures, Noxus, Demacia, and those cold, sad warriors in the Freljord. Cassante feigns surprise, and that was enough to convince them to make you commander. He exhales through closed teeth with exaggerated gravity. War really does make people desperate. Taupe snickers. I'm glad you've not lost your humor. He leans back in his chair. We've both come far, Cassante, Taupe observes, from two young hunters with... what did they used to call us? All talent, no discipline? Cassante nods. Now we're some talent with some discipline, sometimes. Taupe laughs loud and free. Cassante is reminded of the warmth of that booming sound, how Taupe always made those around him feel accepted. Cassante sighs, relaxes his shoulders, and for the first time during this meal, he too leans back against his chair. Okay, so now he's like fully relaxed and isn't feeling like anxious or anything about the conversation. You know, I never got the chance to say this, Taupe begins, probably because I didn't believe it back then, but now I'll regret it if I don't. So here goes. Cassante watches Taupe pick at his nails before he continues. I'm sorry, Taupe finally says, sitting up tall. I didn't support you back then. During the Cobra Lion battle, I mean, at least not the way you wanted. I hadn't realized what it meant for you to... No, Cassante interjects. He's thought about this conversation many times over. A few years ago, it was the only thing he could think about, rehashing what he felt and why. Then later on, it started to come up less frequently and felt more like a lesson. A reminder of how the relationship had evolved and how it allowed him to finally acknowledge the damage his pride could do. It took him even longer to understand that. Even now, his pride is a force, one that drives off others and turns tides in battle. In love, it is not so different. Killing enemies is straightforward. Resolving conflicts is not. These days, Cassante hasn't thought about this conversation much, if at all. Again, he certainly hadn't expected to be having it now, but all those years spent thinking about it allows him to say what comes next. No, Cassante repeats firmly and sits forward. I hurt you. Look at this conversation, man. He exhales. Yes, the Cobra Lion was damning, and yes, it meant everything to me to slay it, to prove that I could be Nazuma's greatest warrior, but I didn't need to do it in a way that belittled you. In fact, I used your notes. You discovered it was Bakai. That's what allowed me to finish what we had started. For that, I'm grateful. Cassante looks down at their plates, both half-eaten, a sign of deep conversation. His eyes rise to meet Taupe's. I could have been a better partner to you too, and for that, I'm sorry. I truly am. Wow. This is making me feel like it just feels good whenever like you have two mature people like who had a past relationship just like talk it out maturely, right? He senses the cool desert air on his skin as he watches Taupe's face soften. The sun must have set. When it dropped from the sky, he can't recall. He takes a breath and smiles. But you should also thank me. Oh, Taupe says, amused. He sips his wine as he considers Cassante, and why's that? By doing what I did, it seems I've helped you in both your career and your love life. That's funny. Wine spurts from Taupe's nose. He throws his head back, howling with laughter. It's contagious. The merry sounds of both men intertwine with nearby campfire songs and dance. That pride of yours, Taupe says, has never truly gone away. Smiling and sighing, he wipes droplets of wine off the table. It is your greatest strength, and I, for one, think the Nazumans are lucky to have you. In times like these, there's no better pride of Nazuma. Cassante sits back and enjoys the wide, open evening sky. He had imagined this conversation going a million different ways. Seeing Taupe's success, hearing his acceptance, and feeling his maturity, coupled with Cassante's own growth, is a relief. He grabs the pitcher of palm wine and pours himself a glass. And no better commander of Merrowmark. Let us toast, Taupe declares. Ascended, empires, or beasts. None shall threaten our homes while we still stand. That's so awesome. This is basically just a story of like, you know, ex-partners coming back together and becoming great friends, having matured through life lessons or just through growing older and things like that. They've come back, apologized to each other, and they're able to be really, really great friends again. And of course, they're both very, very good warriors for, you know, Merrowmark and Nazuma. So, and they still have the same common goal of working against the Ascended. So they're still going to be working together very, very much. And it seems like they're just going to be the best of friends going forward, which is awesome. I feel like we actually, for once, have a happy story because most of the time our stories are very tragic, right? And I get it because that's what makes a character interesting in League of Legends is sometimes you got to have a tragic story or biography for them, right? But in this case, it was kind of tragic in the sense that like they didn't end up together, but it actually ended up with Casante's joke here. You know, Taupe should be thanking him for helping out with his love life and making him a commander in the future by, you know, them not being together anymore. So it's kind of a funny joke, but in reality, it's kind of true. And we actually, I think, have a happy ending in this story for once. All right, let's start going through all of the cinematics for Casante. We're going to start off with the champion teaser. It's called The Hunter's Pride. There we go, 50 seconds. The teasers are always short.
Brings a new day to continue the hunt.
Okay.
My ancestors built Nazuma away from the Ascended and other would-be rulers. But monsters come in all shapes and sizes.
Is that the Cobra Lion?
I, Casante, stand between them and my people. To the end.
That was pretty hype. That's a pretty hype trailer there. All right, let's go ahead and check out. We have another, we're going to be doing the Defeat Your Monster cinematic next. Let's go ahead and check it out. All right, now I may or may not have seen this when I was going through cinematics for League of Legends a while back, but let's go ahead and go into this now that we know his story and all that. So we're going to be into this a little bit more. All right, there's the Intofos. I believe I'm saying that correctly.
This is the tale of a young hunter.
Ooh, here we go. We're actually getting this cinematic. Fighting the Cobra Lion. Whoa, the art is insane.
Together, the hunter and his love, the archer, defended their homes from the monsters that threatened it. With his Intofos in hand and his love by his side, the hunter felt invincible. But there were times, many times, when the archer urged the hunter to temper his skill with strategy. Unfortunately, the young hunter couldn't see that there is no monster greater than pride. So, the archer moved on to other adventures. But he left behind.
This is a really cool art style that I don't think we've seen for League before.
The hunter could finally see his monster. Arrogance. The archer had been right.
No greater monster than pride. That's crazy. See, this is what I wanted. I'm glad we're getting some sort of cinematic like this. I want to see some of his abilities. Super fast and agile, of course. Damn, he cut the tail off. This is giving like Monster Hunter vibes a little.
His pride had torn them apart, but they finished the hunt together.
Oh, in half?
And that is how the young hunter defeated his greatest monster.
Cool. Oh, whoa. Whoa. I'm excited to see his, like, the different skins, if there are any for him. Like, what it'll do to the weapons that he uses, the Intofos. All right, this is pretty exciting because I have no idea what kind of abilities we're going to get for him and, like, anything, I guess. So this is 5 minutes long. This is his champion spotlight.
Casante is a proud monster hunter of the top lane who transforms from a defensive tank to a lethal skirmisher.
Okay.
The city of Nazuma looks to him for his courage, resilience, and deadly power.
Ooh, he's these, like, little dash abilities.
And apex predator. Welcome to the Casante Champion Spotlight.
Okay.
I'm done holding back.
All right, let's see these.
Casante is all about finding the perfect moment to
we're
prove
showing the
your
ultimate
strength.
first, all
so
out.
Let's start with his ultimate.
Okay.
All out. Cast all out to target an enemy champion. If they collide against a wall, Casante knocks them through it. He'll pursue his enemy to the end of their path, dealing damage and stunning them.
That's crazy.
If Casante's prey doesn't hit a wall, they'll be knocked back a short distance instead, taking less damage. Whether his cast hits a wall or not, Casante shatters his Intofos to turn them into sharp blades, entering all-out form at the end of his charge.
Oh, okay.
While he's all out, Casante gains attack damage that scales with his armor and magic resist. He'll also gain Omnivamp, scaling with his health.
Okay.
But be careful, because all that power comes with responsibility. In all-out form, Cassante is no longer a tank. He loses a large chunk of health, armor, and magic resist. All-out form expires after a brief period.
I was wondering what was going on with his
will
HP.
Be ready to tank once more. He can also recast his ultimate to exit the form early.
Oh, okay.
Cassante's passive, Dauntless Instinct, marks enemies that are damaged by his abilities. His next attack will consume the mark, dealing bonus damage based on their max health.
All right, so just bonus
In all-out form,
bonus health.
attacks against a marked target will deal even more damage, scaling with Cassante's bonus armor and magic resist.
Okay.
Cassante's Q, Intofo Strikes, slams his Intofos in a line, damaging and slowing all enemies hit. If this ability hits an enemy, Cassante will gain a stack. At 2 stacks, his next cast of Intofo Strikes will fire a shockwave, knocking all enemies toward him and briefly stunning them.
That's pretty cool.
In all-out form, Intofo Strikes will no longer slow, but its cooldown is reduced.
I will push them
back. Okay, so he can do it faster.
If
nice.
I must.
Use Cassante's W, Pathmaker, to begin charging a dash. Release to dash in a line, knocking enemies to the end and stunning them.
Okay, so it's a little bit of a charge.
Cassante is unstoppable
and he puts those in front of him.
Damage and knockback duration will increase with a longer charge.
Okay, he seems kind of difficult so far, I will say, a little bit.
Pathmaker's cooldown is refreshed. Cassante gains even more damage reduction, and his charge speed and dash speed will increase.
Interesting that it like combos with his ultimate, all of these abilities.
Knocked back, so be sure to knock him out instead. Use Cassante's footwork to dash to an ally or target location. Cassante will gain a shield that scales with his max health.
Okay.
When you can, it's best to save your sidesteps for your friends. Footwork's range is much longer when cast on a teammate.
Wow, footwork looks like
will grant
it's
the same shield to them as well.
You got to be pretty good with footwork ability.
To jump to allies
I feel
that are
like
over walls, but your untargeted dash won't go the distance. Unless you're in all-out form.
Oh, really?
Intofo Strikes is your 1, 2, 3 punch for activating his passive damage. If you're able to attack between each Q cast, your opponent will crumble like the desert sand. Against stronger laners like Fiora or Darius, Cassante needs to play smart. Don't let pride become your downfall. Use Pathmaker and Footwork to stay out of reach.
Okay.
Once Cassante's powered up, his mid-game is pretty flexible. He's a capable match for any 1v1 if he's ahead, so he's free to split push and roam the map as needed.
Nice.
When it comes to teamfights, your primary job as Cassante is to protect a large group of very important people.
Okay.
Your team, of course. Stick with your backline.
Give him the footwork.
And save your ult for when the best defense is a good offense. That's your moment to go all out on your prey.
Interesting that all of his abilities kind of go in line with his ultimate there. It is pretty
All-out
cool.
relies heavily on finding the correct position.
Because you're changing the Intofos to blades instead.
Against a wall. Use Pathmaker and Footwork to back your enemy into a corner. But remember, transforming is a double-edged sword. Make sure you land in a good place to take the weights off, or the hunter might become the hunted. A good leader knows the difference between when to act and when to lie in wait. Cassante will really shine if you're up for a challenge of decision-making and mechanical mastery.
Ooh,
From
okay.
protecting his allies
Sounds like somebody
the enemy,
not to use that for a new player, like
Can
myself.
Cassante, the pride of Nazuma, is here to finish every fight.
That's cool.
Learn his lessons at the links below.
That's a cool skin. I forget what that skin like line is called, but we'll look at it later. Cool. Nice. He seems like he'd be pretty interesting for your top laners or for your tank players or whatever. I don't know. He doesn't seem like too easy. I feel like the footwork is pretty like it's not a very easy thing to just get off the bat or like learn how to use. But if any of you guys have used Cassante in the game, let me know how he seems to you guys, especially you top lane players. If you guys have tried him out and just how he feels to you guys, let me know. All right, I guess there is a Prestige Empyrean Cassante skin trailer, so let's watch this. That's what the name of the skin is called. I totally forgot. Ooh. Loving the bass in the song here. This is a sick trailer for a skin. Okay. Dang. Oh, the song makes this so hype. What? Wow, I love how he like flares it off. That's cool. Cool. All right, next up is the champion theme for Cassante, the Pride of Nazuma. It's 4 minutes long. That's a long theme, I feel like. So let's just dive in and see what vibe we get. Okay. Did Lil Nas X have anything to do with this? I actually kind of want to see. No, it doesn't look like it. Okay. This is hype though. Hello. I don't know what's being said, but it sounds cool. I wonder what the oh, there's no closed captioning. I was gonna say if it actually would show. I love seeing the concept art. Oh, that was cool. I love how fast-paced the song is, too. I love the horns in the song. What is that instrument? It sounds like a flute, but I don't think it is. Or like a piccolo. Dude, it's such an epic song. Holy crap. I feel like this is like really good. Better than a lot of themes so far. Is that too much to say? Okay, hold on. We're slowing down. It's too soon, right? We're only a minute and a half in. I'm saying that too soon. The singer's voice is beautiful. Very curious to see what they do with the Intofos in the future for like design and stuff on skins. Is there, I wonder if there's like a lyrics translation to this, because we usually don't get lyrics in a lot of our themes. And this has a lot of lyrics so far, comparatively to like others for sure. The drums. You know the drop's coming again here soon. Maybe it is just straight up a piccolo. Okay, the build up. Oh, the drums. What? Now I feel like it's feeling very much more like League of Legends. At first I was like, this could be any old music, but now it feels a little like League of Legends. And I don't know why. Maybe it's just like the build-up feels like that. I mean, we had singing throughout the whole song. I think I need to look up the lyrics. Oh, dude, the drums were sick throughout this too. Weird, like warbling, like to go out there. Interesting. I do want to look up the lyrics to this. That was a great song in my opinion. All right, everybody, I could not find the lyrics. I'm having a hard time finding it, but the vocals were done by Joel Virgil, I believe is the last name. Great job to him. And we had like lyrics throughout the entirety of this song. So Again, like he was a pretty important part of the song overall, and I think it was a really, really good champion theme in my opinion. I definitely want to hear from you guys though what your thoughts are on this theme. I know it's a newer one, so you kind of expect the newer ones to be, I don't know, of high quality for sure, while maybe some of the super old ones maybe it was a different time, right? So anyways, this was really well done, and yeah, I want to hear you guys' thoughts. All right, guys, it looks like we already have 4 skins for Cassante. Let's take a look at them in 3D. Here we go. The original design, again, I always applaud League of Legends and Riot for creating unique characters, in my opinion, after we've had 160 plus at this point. Their creativity, in my opinion, in terms of like the uniqueness and the look of champions is still very well alive. All right, so we've seen the Empyrean skin already in the gameplay spotlight video. This is cool. The one that I know of that like is pretty popular, I'm pretty sure, is the Pike one. For some reason, the Pike one is the one that I always remember whenever I see this skin. And yeah, I mean, it looks really cool. I like the combination of the colors. The helmet looks awesome. The Intofos look cool as well. Let's see what other skins we have. I don't know if this is going to be my favorite. You guys let me know what your favorite is, though, out of the 4 skins. Okay, here's the Prestige Empyrean. This is the one that we had a whole trailer for, and in my opinion, might be the best. We'll see. I mean, we're showing off the abs here. It's just like, look at the colors and everything. Look at the Intofos. Those look insane, actually. His hairstyle as well is really coolness. Just the overall look of this is really, really good. If you're not a fan of like pink, I guess you might not like this because it definitely has like pink forward quite a bit. But I mean, this skin just looks really, really cool. This so far is my favorite. Let's look at the last one. All right, last but not least. Oh, we have the Heartsteel skin, right? We did check out the music video for the Heartsteel. I believe it's called Paranoia is the first song from Heartsteel. We'll take a look at this. I have a reaction up already for that, so go check that out if you haven't already. I mean, yeah, this is pretty good. Let's look at the other chromas for it. Yeah, okay. So Prestige Empyrean, I think, is still going to win out for me, specifically. But Cassante in the Heartsteel video is very awesome. The fact that this has a bunch of other colors for you to choose from as well, or chromas, I think might give it a little bit of an edge in terms of, like, if you were to choose a skin to purchase or whatever, Heartsteel might be the better one to choose from because you have all these different chromas, right? But overall, I think the skin is honestly really, really good, but Prestige Empyrean is going to be my favorite. Let me know what you guys think is your favorite skin out of Cassante's. This Heartsteel one is really good. I almost want to put it as number 1, but I think Prestige Empyrean is going to stay. All right, we are on the Fandom Wiki, and of course, we're skipping a lot of the stuff at the beginning here. That tends to be kind of the case with these newer champions. It's usually just stuff from the biography and story that we already read. So we're going to start off with appearance for him. Cassante is extremely tall and muscular with massively broad shoulders. He has dark skin, black hair, and orange-brown eyes. He wears his hair in short, messy locks with the sides shaved. He also has a medium-length beard and a short mustache. He has a colorful sense of fashion, his signature outfit consisting of numerous layers and varying bright colors. He wears a red jacket with a gold trim and a gold, red, and purple pattern of rhombuses on the sleeves, I guess. Underneath is a long tunic, brown at the chest and light violet below. Around his neck is a deep blue scarf with purple stripes in some areas. His hands feature blue-gray fingerless gloves with gold bracers. On his legs, he wears blue-gray pants with golden knee pads and short brown boots. He also wears golden circular plates of varying sizes tied to gold-colored ropes draped across his torso. His Intofos are enormous plank-shaped blunt weapons with handles on the edge near the lower end. Metallic turquoise, they are intricately carved with a symbol of a roaring lion at the top end and a golden circle at the bottom. The handles have a brown leather grip. When they shatter into blades, they appear far smoother and feature a series of curved stripes in yellow, purple, and dark turquoise. He has a lot of colors going on with his fit, and it's just another champion that happens to be like fashionable, right? I believe that's probably an influence of like Lil Nas X, I assume. I don't know though. Personality. Cassante is a determined and ambitious individual who grew up with a deep reverence for his homeland and a desire to become its greatest warrior hunter thanks to the many stories he heard as a child. He is fiercely independent and believes that he must prove himself through his own strength and achievements, but often refuses to accept help or support from others. This intense drive and pride in his own abilities leads him to dismiss the ideas and strategies of his partner Taupe, ultimately straining their relationship. Now, Cassante remains incredibly ambitious and passionate about his own nation. He speaks with lots of confidence and fearlessness, especially on a hunt. Though he still sometimes struggles with humbling himself for the sake of others, he is actively aware of not letting his own hubris take over. As it is Nazuman culture, Cassante does not follow any of the Ascended and has a strong opposition towards them. He hates the idea of the Ascended self-proclaiming to be gods above mortals and sees their ongoing conflict with each other as a threat against his homeland. And very much so. I mean, they literally are like attacking his people. All right, so abilities. Intofo Mastery. Casante wields 2 Intofos, massive and blunt Tonfa-like weapons that he can wield with ease thanks to his immense physical strength. Casante has shown that he can deal immense blunt damage with his Intofos, striking with enough force that he can create fractures to the ground. Along with that, Casante can also use these weapons defensively, holding them up to create a nearly impenetrable shield. Casante's Intofos have been re-engineered with slabs of the Cobra Lion's regenerative hide, allowing Casante to shatter their heavy outer layer if he applies enough physical force. Once he does this, he can continue wielding the hidden blades within his Intofos, striking with more agility and sharpness. After a short period, the Intofos' outer layers regenerate. Okay, I don't know if this is a direct correlation, but I'm kind of a Marvel nerd myself as well, and I didn't think about this until just now because of the Cobra Lion's like regenerative shield or the armor or whatever, like whatever it's made out of. For some reason, if you guys know like the Black Panther movies, the vibranium metal that's in Marvel or whatever comes from Wakanda in the Black Panther movies and stuff. So maybe that's kind of like a correlation with like this metal or this armor that is like only related to the Cobra Lion. I don't know. It's just something that I thought of immediately when I read that. And it could totally be a stretch. Monster hunting mastery. Thanks to years of training and studying to the journal of his former lover, Taupe, Casante has proven to be one of the most talented and skilled monster hunters in Nazuma. He's capable of not only finding the weaknesses of beasts, but also calculating when and where to strike to deal the most fatal damage to them. Along with that, his years of training has given him knowledge on how to harvest and craft materials collected from his hunt. All right, so we have our relations. So Taupe and Casante trained and hunted together for years, become an extremely talented, inseparable duo of hunters. Eventually, the two confessed their loves for one another and, after sharing their first kiss, grew into an official romantic relationship. While hunting for the Cobra Lion, Casante became more prideful of himself and often argued with Taupe over their differing methods in hunting down the Bakai beast, eventually having a massive falling out and separating as lovers. Casante, having to hunt the beast alone, swallowed his pride and sought Taupe's help once more, only to find out that he had moved back to Merrimark. However, he had left behind his journal and his many studies on the beast, revealing to Casante his many plans and strategies to kill the Cobra Lion, which ultimately proved effective in the end once he slew it. The two reunited years later when battling some zealous followers of the Ascended Zereth, fighting alongside each other as Taupe nursed Casante back to health at his nearby camp over 2 days. Once awake, the two shared a meal together and reminisced on each other's lives, with Casante revealing a massive celebration being held for him and Taupe having his wedding to a new lover at that same time. Taupe tried to apologize for leaving Casante during the hunt for the Cobra Lion, but Casante interjected and stated that he should be apologizing instead for how he let his pride get the best of him and how he mistreated Taupe in their relationship. Despite their past, the two hold a deep friendship and appreciation for one another, as Casante is genuinely happy that Taupe found true love in his future husband, and Taupe is happy for Casante's new honorary title as the Pride of Nazuma, which is such a happy ending for once, right? Okay, we have the Ascended here. Historically, Nazuma is independent from the rule of the Shuriman Emperor and denies any Ascended, seeing them as a threat. That said, Casante holds disdain for any of the Ascended, seeing them as one of the main threats he seeks to protect Nazuma from. With the growing conflict between Azir and Zereth, Nazuma is caught in the crossfire, and Casante, as the Pride of Nazuma, fights against them and their followers. Okay, now we have the specifics here, Azir and Zereth. Nazuma rejects the rule of Azir as emperor and functions as a completely independent city-state. Casante has a disdain for Azir and his conquest over Shurima, seeing his rule as a threat to Nazuman culture. Though Zereth is responsible for atrocities against his people, such as the rampaging Cobra Lion, he places blame on Azir as well for being the one that Zereth is fighting against. Yeah, it's like Azir didn't have any direct correlation, but still, right? And then Zereth, the infamous Cobra Lion that Casante and his lover Taupe hunted years ago, was actually the product of failed experiments by Zereth as he attempted to fuse Shuriman fauna together with Ascension magic using a makeshift sun disk of his own. Because of that, Casante holds an even deeper hatred for Zereth, seeing him as a massive threat against his people due to the atrocities he's already committed. Casante has battled many of Zereth's zealous followers already, mostly recently reuniting with his lover Taupe to fight off a large band of them seeking to kill Casante and evade Nazuma. All right, let's see if we missed anything. We read the biography, we watched the Defeat Your Monster video, and we read the short story, so I don't think we did. The trivia just says Casante wields 2 extremely large Intofos, which is just a play on words for Tonfas, the inspiration weapon. And then Casante is openly gay, having been in a relationship with a fellow hunter named Taupe. Cool, no other little trivia there. All right, very cool. Let's go ahead and move on to the voice lines. All right, 6.5 minutes here from Skin Spotlights with some special interactions. Here we go.
No. Keep those scissors away from my clothes.
Okay, the priority here, again, is the fit, the fashion. All right, that's kind of funny.
Hey there, little furry cave thing. Are you lost?
cave thing. Does Nar
A
come out of a
grumpy
cave?
old goat?
Oh.
People will follow any gods these days.
Dude, you can't say that to Orin. That's actually kind of crazy.
I see you don't like confidence, Zed. A shirt, maybe? When Auntie said strong women are like steel, she was right.
Oh, I think he really likes Camille there.
You are Bakai, are you not? Okay, is that it?
Oh, you know what? I've been told that that's all he says, isn't it? I get that reference.
What are
now.
you hiding from, Akshan? Fate or fear?
Ooh, I kind of like
Others
that.
may call you a god. To me, you're just another beast.
Wow.
Azia, you think you were born to rule me, but I was born to live free.
Hey, I love that voice line. That's
You
so
think
good.
empire means strength, Darius? Grow up, boy.
Oh my god. Dude, I haven't done a reaction to Darius yet, but I feel like that's something you don't say to Darius.
The worst monsters
Darken.
were once human. Garen, all privilege, no eyes.
Okay,
Don't
that's
hold
fair.
back, Jax. Let me learn from the best.
Oh, yo, actually saying something nice
A
about Jack's
brighter
school.
tomorrow, Jace, for all, or for those like you. Great beast, you
A
kill
monster
to
champion.
survive. So must I.
Okay, I'm loving these
Nasus,
voice lines so far.
You watched your kind kill my people. Never again.
Ah, yep, the anger even towards Nasus, too.
Nila, you've slain monsters. Impress me, and we team up.
I mean, she's probably stronger.
The man who made gods bleed. Show me, Atreus.
I love his voice
Reluctant.
lines. The
Your
actor,
carnage
the voice
ends
actor's
now.
good. Like, real good.
You'll make no trophy out of me, Kilosh.
Okay, I don't know anything about Rengar.
Siva, don't let your bloodline determine who you are.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Hello, colonizer. How do you wish to die today?
Oh my god, that's a crazy voice line.
You weave the land's gift, Talia. Cherish it.
Okay.
The void, is it? All monsters can be slain.
He hasn't really dealt with the void there, so he still knows of it, though.
The lives lost, the
There we go.
Bakai, all victims of your pride, Zereth.
Wow, all victims of your pride. Dude, I'm in
I
on
went
these voice
all
lines.
out. You did not.
Haha, KD8 all out
There's
skin.
your comeuppance.
Killing Oshkan,
Ascend
wow.
it no more. No chicken should play Emperor.
Whoa,
Jax.
calling Azira chicken?
Don't use age as an excuse. All those books, Nasus. For what? And now, Atreus, return to your hearth.
Okay.
God warrior Renekton, butchered by a man.
That's enough said, right, for an insult.
Gold can't buy everything, Siva.
Ah,
Nothing justifies massacre, Zera. Nothing.
true.
It seems I am built different. When one hunt ends, another begins.
Okay.
It wasn't close. We're finished here.
Man, these are so good.
Good. Who's next?
Who's next? I'm
All
built different.
bark,
Like,
no bite. No challenge.
these are kind of like classic insults.
Form is temporary. Nazuma is forever.
Ooh, that's better than just yelling Demacia all the time, right?
I'll give you a laugh. So few ever do. Big egos fall the hardest. Remember the Cobra Lion. I didn't give up then. I won't now.
And that's after dying to a monster. Cool.
Dragons, even here, the hunt never dulls.
Okay, he's excited about that.
Whatever you herald, I will end it before it begins.
I just think the voice actor's doing such a great
Baron Nashor,
job.
the honor is mine. Heroes are born from crisis.
This is when you leave the base when losing
See
and
the
now
way
winning.
they scramble like baby armadillos. Why didn't they? No matter. So long as I am here, we can win.
Okay.
Those who wish me dead, keep wishing.
Ooh.
Like my Entofos, Break me, and I return stronger.
Ah, I like that. That's
I
so
am
good.
not dead. Not yet. Cassante, hear my name and know my strength. We don't have to be friends, but we do have to fight together.
Dude, I love his
Keep
just
your
his
heads high. We
his
are
ideology, his
worthy.
positiveness, you know?
As much as I wish, a single head can't hold counsel. So please, march with me.
Okay.
Some of us won't
Work
see
together.
the end. Remember the fallen as you draw the enemy's blood. If Tope were here, he'd point out all
It's
my
Tope,
mistakes.
okay.
Good thing we separated, because he'd be right.
Eh,
Even now, my people stand with me, my weapons aimed in their name. My ancestors built Nazuma. No god, king, or beast could conquer them, and none will conquer me.
wow. That's such a powerful line,
I'm grateful
man.
for the love we shared, but I'm thankful to walk my own path.
Okay.
We were friends, then lovers, then apart. Some hunts fail. Some love stories too.
Yeah.
Mother would love this, eh? Her only son fighting to the death. In life and in battle, I remember my mistakes. They are my history, my motivation.
Learn from your mistakes. I love that. Wow, that's such a good way to end out his voice lines too, because I feel like that's kind of like a little bit of kind of like his whole champion in a nutshell there. I think I just really loved, first off, how many interactions we had with other champions. Number one, always great in my opinion. But the voice actor did such a good job, and it felt like it just made Cassante seem really cool in my opinion. In terms of all of the, you guys need to confirm for me. I believe, isn't it Ramus that just says like one voice line, and I think that's it, right? Is it okay? And I guess, is Ramus a Bakai as well?
Okay, is that it?
Yeah, you guys will have to let me know about that. Other than that, I think there was the Rengar one. I don't really know anything about Rengar. We haven't reacted to him yet. But, you know, Jax and Neela and Nasus, Azir, all of them, we know all of them. So that's really cool that we're able to get all of these. We haven't reacted to Jace, but we know Jace from ARCANE enough to know and understand like what's going on here with this voice line. But yeah, I really loved how like he made a point here towards the end that like he's moved on, he's grown up, he's learned from his mistakes in the past, and he's become a better person because of it. And it's made him a more positive person, it seems like, as well. These here in the middle with all the just like, I'm built different, it wasn't even close, like these kind of voice lines, very, very good. And I think the only reason it felt like they were really, really good is because the voice actor delivered them so well. Because I could have heard these like little trash talk voice lines, and I felt like if it came from anybody else, it wouldn't have been as good as these.
All bark, no bite.
Because it's just like the way he delivers them, in my opinion. By far, I think the best, although calling Azir a chicken was very, very good. I think this one where he's just like, you think an empire means strength, Darius, grow up. I don't know. The way he says it is just so good that I think this is probably my favorite diss on any of the champions. All right, enough yapping though. Let's go ahead. There's more voice lines for us to check out. It calls, I go. Okay.
I go. Ha ha! Ho! Hey! The hunt beckons.
What's going on there?
Ha ha! Ha! Ha!
Why is he doing that?
Sound I know well. Nazuma must stand.
Okay, this is
Pride!
death.
My downfall! Baron Nashor, no monster greater than pride. Sometimes a warden must become a warrior. Surrender is a weakling's word.
Ooh.
Open battle honors the hunt. The desert was my mentor. Shift like the sand, strike like the eagle.
Ooh, I love that too.
Roar with every step,
Listen,
every star.
I mean, okay, come on. The way he's delivering these voice lines, it's so good.
A lesson.
Every scar a
Survival
lesson.
is just the beginning. Those who don't respect me will learn today. I will push them back, alone if I must.
Alone if you must.
Predators become prey as quickly as night becomes day. If the enemy asks,
rhyme.
I am the answer.
Ooh.
Anyone can wield a weapon. Warriors make their own.
Wow.
It wouldn't be worth it if it were easy.
True.
Ascended warlords, monsters. They are not so different. Act like failure is impossible.
Oh my God, he's just like an inspirational speaker over here.
Thank God. Good is not enough. Come and get it.
I love his laugh too.
Underestimate nothing. Fall before me. Be worthy.
Be worthy.
You are done. Yield or die. Until my last breath.
There you go.
What do you fight for? Hesitation is defeat.
Man.
For Nazuma.
All right, that's giving Demacia a little bit.
Show me who you are. Clash with me. I fear no one. This is my fight.
These are also good because of the way he's delivering it.
Try me. Perish. You won't last. Do your worst. Here, I make my truth. Hurry! Quickly!
Okay, cast E to ally.
Must I do everything? Stand strong. Together. To dust. Face me! Fight! Crumble!
Ooh,
No,
that crumble
you
was
don't.
good.
Enough! I will not yield!
The ultimate?
Now it ends. I'm done holding back.
Ooh.
You are finished. Fall. Die. Break. Back up. Get out. Move. Prevail. Survive.
Wow, all these like one-liners. Dude, his laugh is so good. I love this guy's laugh so much. All right, that does it for his voice lines. Again, I've said it like 5 times already, but I love the delivery of the voice actor. It's really, really good in my opinion. Just the way he like delivers even just one word is just done so well in my opinion. It adds a lot to the character and it adds a lot to just like the ferocity behind Cassante, I feel like. I definitely want to hear from you guys. I don't know if you guys have heard Cassante's voice lines yet before or not. It might be your first time hearing them. I want to hear from you guys in the comments what you think of his voice lines. I think they're pretty darn good. Of course, we don't have any Legends of Runeterra voice lines. It'd be nice to have those, but this is still really, really good and a great start in my opinion. We got a lot of interactions with people in Shurima already. But of course, I would love to see more. And of course, what they could do with Cassante in the future, he's very much so aligned against the Ascended. What other champions are very much so against like the Ascended altogether? Is there other champions like that? There's got to be, and I'm not thinking of them off the top of my head right now. I don't think like Ezreal or like Kaisa are against the Ascended necessarily. Talia, I actually don't know anything about. I don't know what her thoughts are, being also from Shurima. And then like Sivir really doesn't want anything to do with like Azir necessarily, it seems like. But yeah, you guys let me know if there's any other like champions that would maybe be aligned with Cassante's way of thinking and just like not really want the Ascended there whatsoever, because I think maybe a team up with them against Xerath. I don't know. The whole Xerath thing, like so many people hate Xerath. Is there ever anything going to happen with like the whole Xerath like storyline in terms of like people hunting him? Is that ever going to come to fruition? Who knows? It seems like though Cassante is definitely more on the defensive. He is out there hunting like the monsters or the Bakai that Xerath is making, but it's more in defense of Nazuma and just making sure the Ascended don't come anywhere near there, I assume. So yeah, in terms of the future of where his lore might go, I think he's perfectly fine where he is. He's basically the pride of Nazuma. He's the warrior, the defender of Nazuma, and there's really no reason for him to kind of go anywhere unless his plan was to go out and like finish off the Ascended once and for all. But I didn't really get that vibe from any of his like stories or biography or anything like that. So I think he's perfectly fine where he is right now. All right, guys, if there is anything I missed for Cassante, please, please, please let me know in the comments. I honestly really enjoyed him for a newer champion and everything like that. He was a really, really fun champion to take a look at. I really like the design of his weapons. I think those are super unique. I know they're based off of Tonfas, I think it said in the Fandom Wiki, and he is going to be in Heartsteel, the music group from now on. So that's going to be pretty cool to see more of Cassante in future music videos and stuff like that. All right, guys, that's it for the reaction. Thanks again for watching the video. Please leave a thumbs up on the video, subscribe to the channel, check out the other reactions, of course, and I'll see you guys in the next video.